ChatGPT said, imagine this for a moment. The sun, the great golden heart of our skies, suddenly collapses into a black hole. Not the kind that instantly swallows everything into oblivion, but one with the same mass as the sun. Earth would not be pulled in. We would still orbit. From a distance, nothing would seem to change at first. The planet would keep moving as though nothing happened. But then the truth would strike us with silence. The light would vanish. The warmth would disappear. The world would be plunged into darkness. Picture walking outside and seeing the sky stripped of its familiar glow. The place where the sun once shined is now a void, a hole bending light into warped halos. Our days are gone. Within hours, the temperature begins to fall. The winds grow sharp. Within weeks, oceans freeze on the surface. The world is transforming into a frozen tomb. And yet, in this darkness, humanity would not surrender easily. People would fight to survive. Underground shelters would become the new cities. We would gather around nuclear power and geothermal heat, like we once gathered around campfires. Suddenly, survival would not depend on luxury, but on unity. Imagine neighbors who never spoke now sharing warmth, families once divided by arguments now holding hands in the cold. In the absence of sunlight, we would find light in each other. The black hole is terrifying, yes, but think of what it teaches. Life is fragile, yet resilience is stronger than fragility. Sometimes, the things we depend on disappear in an instant. Your job, your comfort, your relationships, even your certainty about tomorrow. When that happens, you stand at the edge of darkness. You feel like the light of your own life has vanished. But just like Earth orbiting the black hole, your path doesn't end immediately. Gravity still carries you forward. There is still a chance to move, to adapt, to rise again. Consider how much we take sunlight for granted. We wake up each day expecting the sun to rise. We expect opportunities, kindness, and stability to always be there. But what if they're gone tomorrow? What if the world doesn't give you what you thought was guaranteed? Will you collapse into despair? Or will you dig into the hidden power within yourself, the way humanity would dig into the earth for warmth? Darkness doesn't have to mean the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of discovering strength you never knew you had. A black hole is silent, cold, and merciless. Yet, in its presence, we are reminded that our greatest energy doesn't come from the stars above, but from the fire within. In the deepest winter, we create our own summer. In the longest night, we write our own dawn. So when life feels like it has swallowed your sun, when you're surrounded by shadows and the familiar warmth has been stolen, remember this. You still orbit, you still move, you still have gravity pulling you forward. Even in the darkest void, you carry light inside you that no black hole can ever consume. ChatGPT said, imagine waking up one morning and looking at the sky. But instead of the bright, warm sun, you see a tiny, glowing dot that pulses like a heartbeat. The sun has collapsed into a neutron star. It is no bigger than a city, maybe 20 kilometers across, but it carries the weight of millions of Earths. Its gravity is so fierce, its density so unimaginable, that a spoonful of its matter would weigh as much as a mountain. From Earth, it would look almost harmless, just a small star flickering in the distance. But appearances are deceptive. This tiny star is a monster. It spins hundreds of times every second, shooting beams of deadly radiation into space. The Earth is not just bathed in its light, it is blasted by invisible storms of X-rays and gamma rays. Within minutes, the oceans begin to boil, the atmosphere begins to shred away, and the planet we call home is left raw and exposed. This image may feel terrifying, but hidden inside it is a lesson. Because life works the same way. Sometimes the things we depend on shrink. A job you thought was secure suddenly disappears. A person you thought would always be there pulls away. A dream you carried for years seems to collapse into something smaller, denser, almost unrecognizable. And from the outside, it looks like the end. It feels like your world is being bombarded with forces too powerful to survive. But here's the truth you can't hold on to. Just because something shrinks does not mean it loses its power. In fact, sometimes when things collapse, they become even more powerful than before. The neutron star is smaller than our sun, yet it is billions of times stronger. In the same way, when life presses you down, when your world seems to fold in on itself, that pressure can create a version of you that is stronger, denser, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Think about the challenges you have faced. The failures, the rejections, the heartbreaks. At the time, they felt like destruction. They felt like radiation tearing through the atmosphere of your life. But looking back, weren't those the very moments that shaped you? Didn't they compress you into someone tougher, sharper, more resilient? Just like the neutron star, you became a force no one could measure, even if they couldn't see it from the outside. So the question is not whether darkness will come, because it will. The question is whether you will allow the collapse to destroy you, or whether you will allow it to transform you. The neutron star reminds us that sometimes collapse is not the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of a new kind of strength. Sometimes the smallest version of you, forged in pressure, becomes the most unstoppable version of you. When you feel like your light has been stripped away, when life seems to shrink everything you knew into something cold and merciless, remember that there is still fire within. The pressure that bends you does not have to break you. It can turn you into something extraordinary, something unshakable, something powerful beyond imagination. Imagine standing on Earth and looking up at the sky one day, only to see the sun no longer as a small golden circle, but as an enormous red giant stretching across half the heavens. The sky is filled with a crimson fireball so massive that day and night blur into endless twilight. The oceans begin to boil, the mountains begin to melt, and the very air you breathe turns heavy with heat. The planet trembles because the source of life has now become the source of destruction. As terrifying as that image is, it carries a powerful message. Sometimes in life, the very things we rely on most, the very things we love and trust, can change so dramatically that they no longer resemble what they once were. A friend who was always there for you suddenly changes. A career you thought would last forever suddenly burns out. A path you thought was safe transforms into something dangerous. It feels unfair. It feels unbearable. Just like the red giant sun turning our blue planet into a furnace. But here's the truth that hides inside this cosmic fire. Expansion is not always destruction. Expansion is transformation. The sun becoming a red giant is part of its destiny. It is not dying in weakness. It is growing into its most powerful form. The same is true for us. When life forces you to expand, when you are stretched beyond your comfort, when the heat of challenges seems to burn everything you know, that is often the moment you're stepping into your greatest growth. Think of your own struggles, the times you were forced to leave behind what you loved, the moments when comfort ended and you were pushed into something new. At first it felt like you were being destroyed, just like Earth under the glare of the red giant. But in truth, those moments forged a new version of you. They stretched your limits. They made you discover strengths you didn't know you had. A red giant in the sky reminds us that change is not gentle. It is not always peaceful. Sometimes change burns. Sometimes it boils the oceans of your routine and melts the mountains of your expectations. But after the fire, something new emerges. Just as stars expand and then collapse into new forms, you too expand into the next stage of your journey. So when your life feels like it is overheating, when the things you once depended on are no longer the same, don't see it only as an ending. See it as your own red giant phase, a moment when the universe is demanding that you grow beyond recognition. Because in the fire of expansion, you will find the power to become something larger, brighter, and stronger than the person you once were. Imagine looking up at the sky one night and realizing the sun has transformed into something entirely different. No longer a blazing golden star, but a massive crystal, a diamond star glowing faintly in the distance. It does not shine with the same warmth. It does not flood the earth with life-giving energy. Instead, it sparkles with cold beauty, a jewel in the void, a reminder that even stars can turn into something unexpected. The earth would freeze under this faint diamond glow. Oceans would harden into ice. The winds would howl across barren landscapes, and life as we know it would vanish. Yet, despite the silence, despite the cold, when you look up, you see beauty. A star that has become a diamond, eternal, unbreakable, shining with a quiet light. This vision is more than science. It is a mirror for our own lives. How often do we lose the warmth we once depended on? How many times has the light we trusted disappeared, replaced by something colder, something unfamiliar? A relationship that once gave comfort becomes distant. A dream that once lit your days fades into silence. A future you thought was bright suddenly hardens into something that feels lifeless. It feels unfair. It feels like the end, just like Earth under a diamond star. But here is where the lesson lies. The sun does not die into emptiness. It transforms into something precious. Even in its death, it becomes a jewel, unbreakable and everlasting. And so it is with us. When the heat of your old life fades, when the things you thought would last forever no longer exist, you are not left with nothing. You are left with the chance to transform into something rare, something unshakable, something that no storm can break. Think of a time you went through loss. At first, it felt like everything was gone, like the warmth of your world had been stolen. But then, slowly, you discovered new strength. You learned resilience. You uncovered the ability to shine in silence. That is your diamond star. It is not loud like the burning sun, but it is stronger, more lasting, more brilliant in its own way. Life teaches us that beauty does not always come with comfort. Sometimes beauty comes with pain. Sometimes strength is born in the coldest moments. When everything freezes around you, you are forced to see the sparkle that remains within. Just as the sun can become a diamond, you too can crystallize into a version of yourself that is priceless. The diamond star in the sky is not a symbol of death. It is a symbol of transformation. It reminds us that even when the light we knew is gone, something extraordinary can still take its place. It is proof that endings are not emptiness, but the beginning of a new form of brilliance that will last far longer than fire ever could. Imagine the sky above you, calm and ordinary, then in a fraction of a second it becomes brighter than 1 billion stars. The sun, our life giver, has exploded in a supernova. The light is so powerful it outshines the entire Milky Way. For a brief moment, it looks like the universe itself has set the sky on fire. The blast wave races outward, tearing through the solar system, vaporizing planets, shattering moons, erasing Earth in less than the blink of an eye. The world that once was full of oceans, forests, voices, laughter, and dreams is reduced to dust. It sounds terrifying. It sounds final. Yet hidden in this unimaginable destruction is a truth about life itself. Every one of us faces moments that feel like supernovas. Moments when everything you built suddenly explodes, when the life you knew is shattered in a heartbeat. The job you worked for years is gone. The person you loved with all your soul leaves. The dream you carried since childhood collapses in front of your eyes. It feels like your entire world is gone, just like Earth under the blast of a supernova. You stand there, blinded, broken, and wondering how you can go on when the very core of your life has exploded. But what is a supernova really? Yes, it is destruction, but it is also creation. Out of the ashes of a dying star, new worlds are born. Every atom of iron in your blood, every calcium in your bones, every element that makes you alive was forged in the heart of a star that once exploded. You are not made of quiet light. You are made of fire. You are living proof that even the most violent ending can create beauty beyond imagination. Think of your own struggles, the moments you thought were the end, the heartbreaks that crushed you, the failures that left you in pieces. Didn't those very moments eventually lead you to discover new strength? Didn't they clear away the life that no longer served you and push you to rebuild something greater? A supernova does not leave behind emptiness. It leaves behind the raw materials for galaxies, for stars, for new beginnings. The same is true for your life. When you lose everything, you stand in the most powerful position of all. Because from nothing, you can create anything. Just as the universe uses the death of a star to seed the birth of planets, you can use your darkest collapse to build the brightest future. So when your life explodes, when the familiar turns to dust, remember this image. The sky lit brighter than 1 billion stars. The end that is not just an end, but the spark of creation. The force that destroys also plants the seeds of rebirth. The blast that blinds you today may be the very energy that shapes your tomorrow. ChatGPT said, "Imagine waking up one morning, stepping outside and looking up at the sky, expecting the warm, golden light of the sun. But instead, you see a colossal swirling giant, a massive planet striped with clouds of orange, white, and red, with storms bigger than the Earth itself. This is Jupiter, sitting where our sun should be. But here's the twist. Jupiter is not a star. It cannot burn with fire. It cannot give light. It cannot provide the energy that keeps life alive. In that moment, Earth would be cast into a frozen shadow. The oceans would turn to solid ice, and every living thing that depended on warmth would face silence. It sounds like the end, but inside this vision, there's a message that goes far beyond science. Sometimes in life, the things that look enormous, impressive, and powerful on the outside do not actually give you what you truly need on the inside. Jupiter is majestic, it is breathtaking, but it cannot replace the sun. In the same way, we sometimes chase things that look grand, things that seem larger than life, yet they do not feed our soul. You may chase wealth, but find yourself empty. You may chase attention, but feel colder than before. You may chase a life that looks good to others, but deep down, it is not giving you the light you need. Think of the times you compared yourself to others. Maybe you saw someone with a bigger house, a fancier car, or endless praise from people around them. They looked like Jupiter, massive and awe-inspiring. But the truth is, bigger does not always mean better. You might feel small in comparison, like the Earth trembling under that giant's shadow. But here's the powerful truth. Even the smallest sun is more valuable than the largest planet if it gives warmth, energy, and life. This lesson pushes us to rethink what we pursue. Are you running after the things that truly sustain you? Or are you being distracted by size, by noise, by appearances? In daily life, we often let ourselves be fooled by the grandeur of something without asking, does this actually light my path? Does this actually give me growth? Jupiter without light is nothing more than a cold monument. In the same way, a career without passion, a relationship without love, or a life without purpose is nothing but a giant with no fire. And here is the beautiful part. You do not need to be the largest to matter. You do not need to have the biggest voice or the grandest presence. You just need to bring light into your world and into the lives of others. The sun is not the biggest star in the universe, yet for us, it is everything. It is our warmth, our energy, our hope. The same is true for you. You do not need to outshine everyone. You just need to burn with your own light. Because no giant can ever replace the value of a single true source of light. Imagine looking up at the sky, and instead of seeing the gentle golden glow of the sun, you are blinded by the most powerful light in the universe. The sun is transformed into a quasar, a cosmic engine brighter than entire galaxies. The energy pours out in beams so intense that they could strip away the atmosphere, boil the oceans, and turn the Earth into dust in seconds. A quasar is not just a star, it is a black hole feeding on matter, spinning with fury, and releasing unimaginable power. Standing under that sky, you would not see warmth or calm. You would see a spotlight so overwhelming that it erases everything in its path. But hidden in that vision is not only destruction, it is a reflection of our own potential. A quasar is born when chaos surrounds a black hole, when matter collapses and spins into its core. And out of that chaos comes light so powerful it can be seen across billions of light years. This is the paradox. Out of collapse comes the greatest brilliance. And isn't life the same? When everything seems to fall apart, when you feel like you are being swallowed by the gravity of problems, you have two choices. You can let the weight crush you, or you can ignite the energy within and shine so brightly that the world cannot ignore you. Think about the hardest times of your life. Maybe it was when you lost someone you loved. Maybe it was when every plan you had carefully built shattered. Maybe it was when you felt invisible, like no one saw you, like you were just fading into the background. In those moments, you felt like a black hole collapsing inwards, heavy with pain. But what if that collapse is not the end? What if that collapse is the beginning of your quasar moment? What if all that pressure, all that chaos, is the very thing that can fuel your greatest light? People often believe they need to be calm, perfect, and in control to succeed. But quasars teach us something different. They are born from turbulence, from destruction, from collapse. The brilliance is not in spite of the chaos. It is because of it. So when life feels messy, when everything around you seems unsteady, remember this. Your chaos can become your power. Your pain can become your spotlight. Your struggles can become the light that not only guides you, but inspires everyone who sees it. Imagine living in such a way that your energy is impossible to ignore. Imagine taking the challenges that almost broke you and turning them into the fuel that makes you unstoppable. Just like a quasar lights up galaxies, your story, your strength, your persistence can light up the lives of people around you. You're not meant to hide in the shadows. You are not meant to be invisible. You are meant to radiate with such intensity that your presence changes the universe of everyone you meet. Imagine standing outside and looking up at the sky, expecting to see the bright, familiar circle of the sun, but instead, you are met with a sight that is beyond comprehension. In place of our sun sits an entire galaxy, billions of stars swirling together in a cosmic dance, glowing with colors that paint the heavens in shades of blue, gold, and red. Instead of one light, you see countless lights. Instead of one source of warmth, you see endless possibilities. The Earth would be torn apart instantly, of course, unable to survive the gravity of such a giant, but as a vision, it reveals something extraordinary. Think about what it means for one sun to be replaced by an entire galaxy. Our sun is the center of our lives, the giver of energy, the reason we exist. Yet, in the universe, it is only one star among countless others. Sometimes in life, we treat one thing, one person, or one dream as if it is the only source of light we will ever have. We attach all our happiness to it, all our worth to it, all our future to it. But what if that one thing disappears? What if the sun you built your life around suddenly collapses? You might feel like the world is ending. But the truth is, life does not give you only one star. Life holds an entire galaxy within reach. Think about daily life. Maybe you built your identity around one career, and then it vanished. Maybe you placed all your hope in one relationship, and it ended. Maybe you believed in one dream, and it fell apart. It feels devastating, like losing the sun itself. But what if, in place of that one sun, you're being given the chance to see billions of other stars? What if your pain is not the closing of your universe, but the opening of a galaxy you never noticed before? Every setback can feel like darkness, but it is often the very moment you realize that your light does not come from just one source. Losing a job can force you to discover talents you never explored. Heartbreak can make space for deeper love you never imagined. Failure can guide you toward a success far brighter than the one you first dreamed of. Just like replacing the sun with an entire galaxy, sometimes losing one thing reveals how much more there truly is. The lesson is simple but powerful. Do not let your life orbit around only one source. Do not believe that your entire existence depends on one star. The universe inside you is vast. Your potential is not tied to one path, one choice, or one opportunity. You carry galaxies of strength, galaxies of creativity, galaxies of dreams waiting to ignite. When one light goes out, do not stare into the darkness. Lift your eyes higher, and you will see the countless other lights waiting to guide you forward. And now, as we come to the end of this journey across the universe, let us pause for a moment and look back. We saw the sun collapse into a neutron star, and we learned that even when life compresses you, you can emerge denser, stronger, unstoppable. We saw the sun expand into a red giant, reminding us that growth is not gentle. It often burns, but it pushes us into greatness. We saw the sun explode into a supernova, and we realized that sometimes the end is not destruction, but the beginning of new creation. We imagined the sun replaced by Jupiter, huge and majestic, but without light, and we learned that appearances mean nothing without true purpose. We watched it turn into a diamond star, teaching us that even after losing warmth, you can crystallize into something eternal. We saw it transform into a quasar, the brightest light born from collapse, showing us that chaos can fuel brilliance. And we even dared to dream of the sun becoming an entire galaxy, reminding us that one ending can reveal infinite new paths. But what do all these cosmic visions really mean for you? They mean that you are more powerful than you know. They mean that when your life changes, when your light flickers, when everything you trusted transforms, you are not facing the end. You are being invited into a new form of greatness. Remember this. Stars are not perfect, yet they light up the sky. Planets are scarred, yet they orbit with beauty. Black holes are dark, yet they shape galaxies. And you too, with all your scars, with all your struggles, with all your collapses, you are not broken. You are becoming. People will tell you that your failures define you. They will say that your pain is weakness. They will whisper that your darkness is permanent. But look at the universe. Every collapse creates something greater. Every destruction becomes the seed of a new world. So the next time you feel crushed under pressure, remember the neutron star and say to yourself, I am becoming denser. I am becoming stronger. I am becoming unshakable. When life forces you into fire, remember the red giant and whisper, this burning is not destroying me. It is growing me. When everything explodes around you, remember the supernova and shout, my end is the beginning of something greater. And when you're tempted to chase appearances, remember Jupiter and remind yourself, size means nothing without light. When life feels cold and empty, remember the diamond star and know that, even in silence, I can shine in my own way. When chaos surrounds you, remember the quasar and declare, from this storm, I will shine so brightly that the world cannot ignore me. And when you feel like one dream has ended, remember the galaxy and say, I do not have one light. I carry infinite stars within me. This is not just about the sun. This is about you. You are the fire. You are the light. You are the galaxy waiting to unfold. Don't just survive, shine. Don't just exist, expand. Don't just dream, ignite. Because the universe is not just above you. It is within you. And when you finally believe that, you will not just change your life, you will change the world.